Hi, Mr. Donahue. So this is the situation with Arbella. I had two cars insured with Arbella, and this young female who turned out I didn't know very well asked to borrow one of them, supposedly to help her grandmother move. She specifically asked for the Celica, which should have been a red flag. But I said, why shouldn't you be getting a truck, and why do you want a car? And she said, yeah, we're getting a truck. The car is to go pick up the truck or whatever she said. So I lent her the car, supposedly for a few hours. Didn't hear from her for 10 or 12 hours afterwards. And so late at night, she calls me up and says she was in a minor accident and she had to leave the scene of the accident because there was a warrant for her arrest. She says the car is fine. It's just got a few scratches on it. The police will tell you where it got towed to, but please don't use my name. Just tell them it was stolen. So, short story, I went along with it. I didn't think it was going to be of any consequence to anyone other than the girl who might get arrested. So I figured, I'm just going to go pick up the car at the wherever it got towed to, and that'll be the end of it. So I reported it stolen. They told me it got towed to Revere, which was nowhere near where she was supposedly helping her grandmother move. But anyway, I get to Revere and the car's like a lot of damage, probably totaled. So at this point, it's too late to take back the story that it was stolen. I just stuck with that. I filed a claim with Arbella. But apparently, the real story was that she wasn't helping her grandmother move. It looked like she probably just wanted to go on a joyride with it. But anyways, so the police didn't close out the stolen vehicle report right away. I had the claim going with Arbella, and Arbella said, we can't pay this claim until the police report is all closed out. And the police told me, well, we are not going to close out this report. We think it's suspicious circumstances. Cars don't get stolen in Sharon. So after I don't know how long, a few weeks, I realized this isn't going to go anywhere. And I had a friend on the police force, pretty good friend that had, we were pretty good friends in high school. So I called him up and I told him the real deal. I lent it to the girl and the girl smashed it up, told me not to use her name. And this was all on the recorded line at the Sharon police station. I told him the whole truth, nothing but the truth and all that. So we talked later and he said, well, Dave, if you were hoping that I could do something for you, you should have called me at home, not on the recorded police line. And then if there was any chance that I could have gone to bat for you somehow, that would have been the only chance. But since it was basically a recorded confession, I had to go by the book. So it ended up they charged me with false report of stolen vehicle. However, I guess my friend probably put in a good word for me with the prosecutor, because the prosecutor offered that he would drop the charge, what they call a CWOF, CWOF, continued without a finding. He said, you just have to admit that there's sufficient facts for that there would be sufficient facts for a finding of guilty if it went to trial. And I will continue it without a finding of guilt or innocent for 3 months, at which point it will be dismissed without a finding. So this is like a great deal, right? This is as close to not guilty or dismissed as you can get. All I had to do was stay out of trouble for 3 months, so which I did, and they eventually dismissed the case without any finding of guilt or innocence. So, meanwhile, I also, came clean with Arbella, and I told them the situation. I said, it wasn't really stolen. It was someone I knew. I didn't want to get her arrested. I didn't think there was any damage on the car. So I guess it was the girl she just didn't want to be held accountable for the damage to the car. Right. So anyway, because of the unusual nature of the claim, it was transferred to Kevin Lynch, like a special claims representative, rather than just paying the claim. And I told Kevin Lynch right from the get-go, Kevin Lynch had the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Also, I provided the name of the operator, Ebony Morrison, to the police, to Kevin Lynch, everybody. So he came into the picture before I had accepted the plea bargain, I guess you would call it. So the first thing he said was, Dave, I want you to know that I want to pay this claim. First of all, I want you to know I want to pay this claim. And so he was kind of, befriending me. Saying he was on my side. And I told him, when I told him the situation, he said, well, if you accept that offer of continuation, it's not going to affect my decision as to whether I pay the claim or not. I probably would have taken the offer either way, even if he didn't say that. But of course, he's kind of encouraging me to go ahead and take it. Anyway, so I took I accepted the deal, and I don't know if it was before the 3 months was up or not, but as soon as I accepted the deal, I told him that I had done that, and he immediately said, well, I'm going to deny your claim. And because you pled guilty. And I said, well, wait, first of all, I didn't plead guilty. I accepted a continuation without a finding of guilt or innocence. He said, well, it's the same as pleading guilty, and I'm gonna deny the claim because you accepted that deal. And I said, you told me that it wasn't going to affect your decision one way or the other. He said, well, that's my decision. And then we had a meeting, I think another meeting, maybe a week or two later at his office, where he had prepared a document, and he asked me to withdraw the claim. And he said, you have two choices. You can withdraw the claim, he said, or you can refuse to withdraw the claim, and I'm still going to deny the claim, but I'm also going to, if you don't withdraw it voluntarily, I'm still going to deny it, but I'm also going to report you to the insurance fraud division, and you will never be able to drive a car again for the rest of your life. You'll never be able to get insurance or drive it, so you can't drive a car, right? So it was like, I told him, I said, wait a minute. I read the document that he wanted me to sign, and it says, I voluntarily withdraw my claim number, whatever it was. And I also state that I haven't been coerced into withdrawing the claim. This is what it said in writing, right? That he wanted me to sign. And I said, look what this says here. It says, you want me to sign this saying that I haven't been coerced into signing it. You threatened that I would never be able to drive again. So obviously you're coercing me. I'm being coerced into signing something that says I'm not coerced into signing it. I can't sign this. He says, I mean, he knew I had him, right? I mean, he knew he was full of shit at this point. So he's kind of, oh, well, that's still the choice you have. You got to either sign it or it's going to go down the way I said it's going to go down. So I signed it. To make a long story short, I was not happy about it. I felt like I was paying a ransom, you know, and that's putting it mildly. I felt like I was being bent over and raped, basically. I was ready to kill this guy. I was ready to kill 25 innocent people with a machine gun at, you know, just burst into Arbella and you know, mow down a bunch of innocent people. I mean, the guy he's just, I've never been so mad in my life. So I trusted him, you know, when he basically betrayed me. So anyways, it was 20 years ago. I'm not a threat to do any act of violence. I just want you to understand how upset I was at the time. So anyway, so what did I also want to say? Okay, so anyways, like I said, I kind of characterize that as, I know what I wanted to say is that I didn't think about or understand my legal options because, you know, probably I could have just not signed that. And then when he denied the claim, I could have, you know, taken Arbella to court for not paying the claim, and I probably would have prevailed. But I did not understand my legal options at the time. I didn't think I had any options. I felt like I had no other option but to sign the thing, pay the ransom, basically drop the claim. So for several years, everything's okay. I'm still, you know, I'm kind of battling a lot of anger for several years at this incident, but I was able to drive. Then there was another accident where I was hit by this woman who was speeding up to try to get through a yellow light before it turned red, right? Beat the yellow light. So slammed into me. I am like 100% sure it's her fault. So we exchanged papers, and I didn't file a claim because she was an Arbella policy holder. I did not file a claim because I didn't have a collision on my car. So I just had the compulsory insurance. So I couldn't file a claim, and I didn't file a claim. A woman didn't file a claim for months and months and months, I guess, both because she knew it was her fault and also because there was practically no damage to her car. Amazingly, considering the amount of damage to my car, she just literally had almost nothing. So, like 6 months to a year later, I get a call from Arbella. And said, were you in an accident near Cobb's Corner in Stoughton? And, you know, this maybe like a year later, right? And I said, yes. He says, well, our client is, you know, what's your story on the situation? Our client is filing a claim with us. And I said, well, my story is that there was no damage to her car, first of all, and second of all, it was her fault. Or I might have said it, you know, the other way. First of all, it was her fault, and second of all, there was no damage to her car. Anyway, so they said, okay. And then I didn't hear again for another long period of time. And then finally, I got a letter or something or a call saying that Arbella paid the woman $1,700, and then they wanted me to pay them pay Arbella $1,700. So It ended up in small claims court, and the reason it had got up to $1,700 apparently was that it was mostly for renting a car while they were fixing the damage on her vehicle. You know, what I suspect is that she got into another accident somewhere down the road and had my name on file and tried to pin it on me. And, you know, that's what I had thought at first, was like that was the only way she could get up to $1,700 in damage. But I guess it was just from renting a car. So anyway, the woman doesn't show up. Her husband, who was the policyholder, didn't show up either. I'm expecting the case to get dropped. But their lawyer that was hired by Arbella somehow convinced the judge that the case should go forward. I didn't officially, this is my big mistake, I didn't officially request for the case not to go forward. So by not saying, Judge, I don't think it's fair to have the trial with just one party here. You know, the other party that was involved in this accident isn't here. I would like a continuation or a dismissal. The judge would have granted it to me, but since I didn't ask for it, the case went forward. And I didn't ask for it because I assumed that if I was entitled to a dismissal, he would have told the lawyer, no, I'm going to dismiss the case, or I'm going to give you a chance to continue the case. But he just assumed that since I didn't ask for it, I was okay with the case going forward. So the case went forward, and for whatever reason, the judge said, okay, well, you'll get my decision in the mail, and they found in favor of Arbella. So I have no idea why to this day, but it was $1,700, and then eventually it went up to $2,200 that I officially owe the law firm right now. They said they were going to look into the $500 additional that might have been court costs or something, but it wasn't part of the original judgment. So the original judgment was like 17 something. So now a couple years, I'm not going to give Arbella any money because they owe me, you know, like $3,500 from the claim that they should have paid with the Ebony Morrison incident. I was like, I'm not going to pay this. It, you know, wasn't even my fault. And, you know, I paid the ransom the first time. This is, I'm not going to give him another penny, whatever. So I didn't pay it for several years. The case was from 2004. I think by the time it finally got settled. Now, within a year, my license got suspended because I had started doing pizza delivery, and I was on the road for 8 hours a week, and I was a great driver, but there's some really clever traffic traps that they have in Dorchester where they could shake down the best driver in the world. You're still going to get caught in some of these things. So I had a bunch of tickets. So I got a license suspension. Actually, the main reason for the suspension was that I couldn't go to court because I was working so much. I didn't show up for court. So I think I was suspended for defaulting on a court case. Anyway, so now I lost my license due to the license suspension. Now the only way to get it back is by paying the $1,700 to Arbella, or the $2,200 or whatever it is. So, and I was like, I couldn't get myself to pay it because I bent over and got raped one time, paid the ransom, and now they're holding my license for ransom again. And as much as I wanted to, logically knowing that you have no choice, you're going to have to pay this money or you're not going to be able to drive. I couldn't do it the second time around. I just couldn't. 15 years I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars not being able to drive, not having a license, it's affected my employability, my employment, to the tune of at least $100,000. But I'm just like, I can't get myself to pay this other $2,200. I'm not going to bend over twice. I'm not going to pay the ransom twice. So I'm just like, I'll just wait for 10 years. Maybe I can get my license back without paying the $2,200. So now it's been 15 years or more, and I hate Arbella as much as ever, but it was pointed out to me it's hurting myself a lot more than Arbella if I don't pay this. So my move is to ask the CEO to forgive the $2,200 in light of how I was treated by Kevin Lynch. The $2,200 is probably, or the $1,700 is roughly half of what they didn't pay me on the first claim. So, they're making out good if they just have to pay $1,700 or $2,200 instead of $3,500 on the original incident, right? So, this is getting to be very long, but that is basically the situation in a nutshell. I'm sorry it's so long. I need to try to do a condensed version of this. I probably left out stuff anyway, but that is kind of the gist of the situation. I'm just hoping that Arbella can pay not even pay, there's nothing out of pocket. It's just to forgive the $2,200 debt, which, like I say, I honestly, if Arbella doesn't, I will probably have to break down and pay it. I don't know if I can do it. I really don't know, but it's just so painful. It's like, having the guy robs your house, and then he comes back the next day and you have to buy back your own TV from him or something. It's just, it just gets me right here every time. So that's the situation with Arbella. Questions or comments, please leave questions or comments, because I know I didn't tell this account of this situation well I could have, but I hopefully the gist of it came across.